Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and instead of showing you a brilliant chess puzzle, I'll be showing you how to actually make one. So let's start off with black having a normal position like this, and this is not a castle position, and if it was, the rook would be on f8. So my idea is queen takes g7 check. After recapture, white can play rook to g1, and to prevent the king from going to f8, maybe we can't put a black rook on f8, but this position looks kind of odd. Like, who would see this in a normal chess game, right? So we can add a bishop to b4, maybe c5 even, and now the position looks somewhat like this. So after this is gone, it's like this. The black king cannot go to f8. And I don't want it to go to f6 either. And to prevent it going to f6, we can add a few pawns. And adding a few pawns in the center is normal because usually that's where pawns belong in the usual middle game. And we can add some more pawns later on for white here, like this. So now the black king can only go to h6, where white can play bishop to d2 check. And the other thing about having a bishop on b4, which is really handy, is that most of the time it can just slide back where it can give some deadly checks on this diagonal, like you see right now. So after bishop to d2, black can only play king to h5. And now white can maybe add another bishop into the attack, obviously the light square one. And maybe white can play something like bishop to d1, and as you can see, the true power of this, the dark square bishop and the rook working together, so it forces the king to h4. And we gotta add some more material for white and black, so let's put a few pawns here. Maybe a pawn on c4, a pawn on a3. And we want black to also have a strong attack going. So it can't only be white who's winning the game. Otherwise, usually the engine will not give a brilliant move. So the position looks somewhat like this. And to give a black an attack, we can add a queen on a7, maybe a rook here. And the problem with this is that if white moves this bishop randomly, then black has some really strong attacks on this side of the board. So there's obviously some pressure going on, and anytime maybe black can push some pawns to get this bishop away. Not right now since white can just take, but maybe later in the game. And we definitely gotta give some material to black, otherwise even if white plays a queen sacrifice, it won't be considered brilliant, because to be considered a brilliant move, this move must be the only winning move for one side, and if there's other winning moves, no matter how insane the original move is, then it still would not be brilliant. So right now, white seems pretty safe, but maybe there's some more material, like two bishops here and maybe a knight here. Let's add knights later because there's a famous quote, and that quote is, "Knights are tricky." And I do agree because sometimes they just come out of nowhere to fork you and they're just not really easy to handle with. So the position looks something like this in the start. And my idea is that after queen takes g7, king has to recapture, which white can play rook to g1, and after king to h6, white can play bishop to d2, and after king to h5, bishop to d1, and forcing king to h4, which white can maybe play rook to g4, because if black plays king to h5, then simply rook to g3, and as you can see the power of this bishop, black king has to go to h4, which white will finish off the game with bishop to g5. And if we go back to this position, well, it was something like this, right? Now here, if black plays king to h3, that is the problem. What happens if black plays king to h3? Well, maybe there can be a knight that jumps into the game. Like maybe here. Oh, it's made in 2? Wow, it's made in 2, but I guess it goes something like this, which forces the take, and yeah, this is mate. And as you can already see, we have a miniature puzzle going on. So let's go back to the original position, and it's like mate in 12, mate in 10. The engine's still deciding how long it takes to mate. So after queen takes, king takes, rook here, king has to go back, bishop to d2, forcing king to h5, bishop to d1 maybe, king to h4, and we gotta add a few pawns here, otherwise the position will look kind of weird since white has no pawns in this region, and it's kind of confusing how white lost them. So let's add a pawn here, and once again, king to h5 is refuted by this, and this is mate, while king here allows the knight to jump in. White can sacrifice this pawn for mate, and I think this already works, but black obviously has to maybe have even more material, so right now things are give white a pawn here, and it's already made a few more moves, so material is in black's favor as of right now, but we can maybe add some more. And again, seeing how tricky knights are, you can't like add knights randomly, otherwise they'll just ruin the entire puzzle because they're so tricky. So even a knight on c7 will somehow save black from being checkmated. And I don't know how it saves black, but well, maybe it doesn't because it's a draw. What if it's on b7 though? Okay, this is like made in a few more moves. So maybe we can add a knight on b7. And this is made in 10, made in 7. What about knight on b8? It's also made in a few more moves. So maybe we can do this. And let's see if the engine will give this a brilliant. So as you can already see, queen takes g7 is indeed made in 7. But is it a brilliant move is the question. Let's see. Turn on the self-analysis, and it is a brilliant. And there you go, folks. That's basically how you make a brilliant puzzle in like 8 minutes. And this tutorial isn't necessarily made live since I've made this position like many weeks ago, and I just so happen to remember it, but it gives a basic understanding of how you too can make brilliant chess puzzles. And when you see the light blue brilliant symbol, you'll be extremely happy, especially if it's your first brilliant chess puzzle, and you'll be running around your room knocking furniture down. And this will basically be it for today. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more. And I'll see you all in the next video.